everybody, Tim Norris here, aka GreyElephant, coming to you from GreyElephant Gaming. Today we are located on the outskirts of downtown Indianapolis at the Arsenal Game Room. Inside, we're going to locate Jake Leeman, one of the founders of V3G Games, and also the designer of Incredibrawl. Well, here I am down in the basement of the Arsenal, and I did locate Jake Leeman, the publisher of Incredibrawl, the V3G Games, am I correct?
Correct, V3G. Yep.
So, that's an interesting name. Where did you guys actually come up with that?
Well, it comes from our parent company. So the interesting thing is we've started this as a part of our, if you want to call it our day jobs, which is as an interactive agency. So the owners have been very supportive of me fulfilling this dream kind of through our day job, which has allowed Incredibrawl to take shape and have the resources of a much bigger company. If we were trying to do this, just on my own, hiring artists or whatever, it would be a much harder road to hoe and take a lot longer, and just everything would be harder.
The artistry does look great in the game, though.
Yeah, one of our designers is an illustrator. So one of the designers at the shop has illustrated everything for the game, and then the design department has designed all the cards and done all the layout. And then we've had programmers and stuff that have helped with some of the rules and getting all the finesse and game balance and stuff down. So it's been a real team effort. I did all the initial game design and doing the creative direction for the job, but V3G as a team, which is the really cool part. We're doing this as our first game. It's a physical, traditional game, not a digital game like you might expect, which is different and unique. And we've got all these good resources, so that our goal is to make this game as beautiful and as top-notch, not only gameplay-wise, but from a physical perspective.
Absolutely, absolutely. Great artwork, great components really go a long way, no matter what game you're playing.
Yeah, I agree.
So the other question I have for you is that when I see this game and I'm seeing Yetis and gladiators and knights and soldiers and all these awesome fantasy characters, but they're all meshed together in one game, the first thing I thought of was actually Heroescape. Now, this game is nothing like Heroescape. I mean, they're definitely unique games in their own rights. However, my thought to you was where did you get your inspiration for creating Incredibrawl?
Sure. I've been wanting to design a game for a long time. I'm a relatively newcomer to gaming in the sense that I started about 7 years ago with miniature games. Didn't grow up with it at all. Didn't know this amazing wide world of gaming existed, right?
It's bigger than what you think.
Until I was an adult. And with my, going back to the day job, my professional degree was in design, and then I've taught myself programming. So with those backgrounds, if you really think about it, creative and logic with programming together is what game design is all about. So, so I have fell in love with gaming, and then the idea of, hey, I really want to try my hand at this.
Right.
Flip that into, I'm playing with my son, my oldest boy is 4 years old. Sometime around Christmas, we're sitting there with all of his toys, and he's got a bazillion guys on the floor.
That's awesome.
And
I know what that is.
It's Transformers and G.I. Joes and Ninja Turtles, and we're fighting, and we're going through one at a time, picking a guy. I'll pick a guy, he picks a guy, and we're kind of mashing them together, and of course he always wins. So he has to win every battle, but it was still this, we were having so much fun. I was watching his laughter, and I was just like remembering from my childhood that whole mishmash, right? And so that's really when my mind started going about, man, this would be really cool to do with those kind of nerdy tropes that I've grown to know and love, and we've all grown up with.
From the 80s,
and it's like, how can I make that work? What kind of game would that be? And that's where the very first kernel came from.
Well, that is excellent. That's a great story. I love that. Another question I got for you is that let's look at other games that are currently in the market, okay? And Incredibrawl, when you first contacted me and you showed me the pictures and everything, the very first game that popped in my mind was Smash Up. And I know a lot of people have said the exact same thing. What would you say to people that already possibly own Smash Up, or maybe didn't even like Smash Up? What would make your game different from Smash Up, or unique enough to possibly warrant even owning both of them, or getting this one beyond, instead of Smash Up?
Yeah, okay. First, I guess I would say that I love Smash Up. I own it. I own the expansions. Can't wait for the next one. I love AAG and everything they're doing. So that's all good there. From a personal perspective, the way I view it, kind of just from a gaming level, is I've heard that before, just because we're using similar themes, if you will.
Yeah, it's a theme. And
that's really all it is, right?
It is,
because
absolutely.
it's no different than like AEG right now is getting ready to produce the Trains game.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, is that just like Ticket to Ride?
I don't know.
We'll
find out.
I guess we'll find out at Gen Con, and I hope it's not, and I'm sure it's not. But that's the same thing. It's no different than Zombicide and the old Zombies game. They're different games. It's just the same theme.
Dime a dozen zombies.
So all we're doing is we do share a similar theme, with that whole fun idea of the mishmash. The games themselves are probably very radically different. I mean, I love Smash Up. It's got a really good deck building, and I enjoy it. It's got a nice level of complication and all the different things it's got going on. Great game, awesome to play and fun. And with Incredibrawl, the biggest differences are probably it probably skews a little more casual, and it's all about random chaos, and it's controlling that chaos as best you can during the game. Every character has a unique ability. There's no double cards. There's no repetitiveness at all. And it's about the variety of characters. Right now in the base game, there's 30 characters and 10 power-ups and 10 locations. So everything is unique. There's nothing that is duplicated, or we try to spread that. Aside
from we have the exact same deck, independent of
what we draw. Each player will have the same
Right.
deck. That's the only way. We struggle with that a lot, because part of us, we wanted to do like 100 characters and everything, and that's where we started going. And it's like the farther we went down that road.
Still got to synergize them somehow.
Balancing that was a beast. So it was very much a dial back, okay, and then by having the same decks, it really let us make those characters really special and different, so that all of them feel really different, but they're balanced, because even though my superhero does super awesome, you have the opportunity to play a superhero as well.
Exactly.
So it does kind of help balance the game, and I think that's what's really cool about it, is because it's a very simple game on its like the mechanic level, but those special abilities really make it fun, and they actually add, like as a gamer, they add when you start adding power-ups and the special abilities and locations and all that together, it really does make for a really nice, it's a casual game, not given any suggestion otherwise, but it gives a nice layer of depth to a casual experience.
Absolutely. Well, that's excellent. You know, one thing I was reading online was some people are a little turned off that there's a possibility that some of the locations that could pop up, you could argue your character's ability to be, say, like a really physical or really strong character. What would you say to people that are turned off by the argument aspect of some of the locations and characters?
Completely understandable. That's something we're definitely listening to right now as the Kickstarter's going on. The print and play light version has been released on the Kickstarter, so you can look at all the cards, the rule books online, so you can see the context of the game. And we're listening to that feedback, and it's something right now that we've already created at the very least a location guide, which will show you which characters fit which locations. So for those that want to play that way,
you do have an index that says this character is considered superpowered in this location, whereas if it's not listed, it's not.
So we have that. We have that already. That's going to come, whether it's in the rulebook or online as a supplement, that's going to be there. But we are listening to the feedback and are experimenting right now with trying to figure out if we could use icons or some other method of typing the characters on the cards themselves, so that if you pull up the Mystic Ruins card and it says magical characters, there's a little magic icon that the magical characters have on their card. So we're looking at adding that in right now.
That's a great
idea. To me, that's the great thing about Kickstarter. It gets us in front of people before we make it, so we can find these things out right away, right? Because it's like, hey, if this is the thing the community wants, then we'll put it in there. You guys can have it. You guys, if you want ambiguity, if you want to have that fun table talk, hey, ignore them. But they're going to be on the cards, so that people can like them.
I like the idea of it having on the card. I think that's a grand idea.
So we want to be flexible.
And that helps keeping you from having to look it up in the index too, by having it already the icon on the card itself. Well, I got one more question for you, and this is kind of the big one. Now, this is a first-time game that you guys have published, right?
Yes.
Okay. What would you say to anybody who's possibly a little skittish and maybe thinks, I don't know if I'm confident enough these guys can actually produce what they're putting out here? What would you say to them to give them the confidence that they need to pledge for Incredibrawl?
I think the biggest thing would be to realize that it's not just me, because that's my biggest concern. And I've backed a lot of Kickstarters, and whenever it's just one or two people,
how many do they show up on time?
Almost none. Almost none. And that's one of the big concerns, right? When you get in that situation, well, hey, are they going to be able to follow up? Or what's the quality going to be like? What is the level of professionalism, if you will?
Absolutely.
That's where I think you can totally rely and have the confidence level. I mean, first of all, just look at the art. I mean, you'll see the production level that we already have.
It looks really high. It does look good.
But part of that's because there is the parent company, if you will, of V3G. What we all do during the day to pay the bills. is we're a real company, brick and mortar store. We're just up the street from Arsenal, if you're in Indy. So we're a real place with a real location.
Remember that comes Gen Con time?
Yeah. Hey, if we hit enough stretch goals, we're going to throw a party before Gen Con too. So there's we're a real brick and mortar location, establishment that's used to dealing with these big projects for corporate clients all the time. And so we're used to dealing with tight timelines and aggressive in getting things printed or interactive stuff delivered. All of the things that a Kickstarter project entails, we do every day. So in that level, there's a lot of confidence that from a physical standpoint, will we be able to deliver your product, make sure it's the absolute best product it can be, and try to get it as on time as physically possible? Absolutely.
This is an everyday job for you.
It is. It really is. I mean, that's part of what I do every day. So it's making sure this thing runs like a fine-tooth machine is kind of the point.
Excellent. I hope you guys enjoyed this interview with Jake Leeman. And you know what we're going to do now? We're actually going to sit down, and he is going to explain Incredibrawl to you. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.